Alright, so now that you've turned your paper over, we're going to look at classical music, romantic music, and modern music. Well, classical music was basically between 1750 and 1825. Now, if you'll take a look back to medieval music, we looked at 1,200 years of music. Now we're only down to about 75 years of music. That's like one generation of people. One person might have been born and died in that time period. So we're looking at only 75 years as opposed to 1,200 years. That's a long time. 75 years isn't very. The classical music, they wanted to get back to simpler music. They wanted to look at, they liked the melody, but they wanted to get back to a little bit more of a simple melody. The Baroque music was a little bit too fancy. So they said, you know what, let's just simplify it. Let's make it a simple melody. But let's really bring out the accompaniment. Let's show off our accompaniment. Let's show how many parts we can get in there. So the accompaniment, or the harmony, or all of the background stuff that really brought out the melody was what the classical music was about. So if we were to draw that, let's draw our very simple rose. Nice little simple rose. Couple of petals. And let's bring our sun back out because it was such a pretty day that our sun was out. And some clouds. Let's add some more clouds. I don't know about you guys, but I've seen these clouds here lately that look fake because they're so puffy and so full. And we've got birds, big birds apparently. We've got lots of big birds. We've got grass. You know what? Let's add a few more flowers. What's happening? Oops, I can't go backwards. What's happening to my picture? It's becoming very busy. It's almost hard to see the rose. That's interesting. So we have our simple melody, our rose, but look at what everything is around it. That's really bringing out all of the other stuff. And that's what classical music was about. Around 1825, composers started taking a look at the music and saying, you know what? That's a little too busy for me. I really want people to feel the music. So around 1825, they decided, you know what? Let's not be so busy, but let's really draw out the emotion in the music. So they balanced the melody with the accompaniment to really bring out and make a connection to people. Okay? So they drew out the emotion. They were looking for feelings. Okay? They wanted to connect the feelings to the music. What would that look like in a rose? Well, let's try it. Let's see. We've got our rose. Leaf might have a few veins on the leaves. Our sunshine, we have to have a little bit of accompaniment. A couple of birds. But we don't want to cover up our rose. But let's really focus on getting people to feel that rose. Oh, look at how red it is. They wanted people to feel it, maybe even let it drip the redness to make it look a little bit more fun. Just really bring out the emotion and have them connect to it. Have you ever heard a song that you think, wow, that's just really relates to me? I really like that song because that's what I feel. Okay, so that's what Romantic music did. In the 1900s, they decided to say, you know what, we appreciate the connection of the feelings, but let's take a look at the scientific part of it. Let's take a look at what we can do with music, especially with music and technology. So we pretty much have set our modern music to all the way to today. So it's 1900s to now. Okay? And they've really focused on the science of music. How can we bend music? How can we stretch music? What can we do? They even had this thing called 12 tones. And that was where, which is one of my favorite things to do, is they might take a number and they'll say, okay, that's my starting point. Now, on a keyboard, I might go up 4 notes and then down to 2 and then up to 6 and then all the way up to 12 and then down to, let's go down to 5. And they would do this, it's called 12 tones, so they would use numbers 1 through 12. And so let's see, I've got 1, 4, 2, 6, 12, 5, 3, 10, 8, 11, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so they might play it this way, and then they might play it this way. They'd start from the 9 and play it backwards. Or they might switch it up. Instead of saying going up, I'll go down. Instead of going up 4 notes, I'll go down 4 notes, and then up 2 notes, and then down 6. So they would switch it around and use and make all of the different kinds of sounds that they can with those 12 sounds. This is my favorite rose. What would a rose look like in modern music? It's a very strange rose. Very angular, very unemotional, very almost angled, box-like, to kind of give you an idea. So we kind of went from one extreme to the other, where we really got a lot of emotion to just everything is very cut and dry. It's all in a nice, neat little box. So that gives you an idea of how classical music has been written and composed by the different composers. We're going to go through the folders over your time period at Rosedale and Montezuma, and we're going to be talking about the different composers and where they are in these different time periods. You're going to be able to see their music, hear their music, and figure out, oh, that's what that composer was a romantic composer. That's kind of neat. Or I really like the classical composer because this is what they did. So it kind of gives you an idea as to what we're going to be working with. So I really need you to be able to write all of this down and make sure that you have it so you can refer back to it whenever we're talking about the different composers in our folder. Thank you very much, guys. See you next time.